We are tracking breaking news into our Fox 13 newsroom. We have access to the affidavit in the Moscow murder investigation. Thank you for joining us here. I'm Liz DeWicki.
I'm Bill Wixie, and a lot of new details coming in with these documents being released. Brian Flores is in studio with us right now. You've been pouring through these documents, and a lot of new information revealed.
Yeah, several new documents revealed, a lot of new information in terms of what may have happened here were also revealed. So what was released, just in case you're joining us, include the previously sealed affidavit, probable cause order, arrest warrant, criminal complaint, and other documents as well. The affidavit, though, is where we are learning a lot more details into what led up to this arrest. Now, though the documents, we've learned that investigators got the DNA sample, this was a key piece of evidence here. The DNA sample came from a button snap of a knife sheath that was left behind. Now, in terms of timeline, we are learning a lot more about that as well. We understand two of the victims, Kaylee Gongalves and Madison Mogan, they went to get food at a place called the Grub Truck in the early morning hours of November 13th, roughly around 1 o'clock in the morning. They came back to the home, and around 4 in the morning, Gongalves apparently was heard saying the phrase, "There's someone here." It goes on to describe a person in there, described as a skinny build, a man who was masked in there as well. Investigators also discovered a latent shoe print, eventually, that had a diamond shape, similar to Van shoes, if you've ever seen shoes like that. Now, we're learning the suspect's car did not have a front license plate at the time of the crime based on surveillance footage, but that car eventually ended up on campus at WSU, which is only about 10 minutes away from the University of Idaho campus, early in the morning the next day. We're also learning that a WSU police officer did a cross-check on white Hyundai Elantras. Do you remember that search for the Hyundai Elantras? They found that one had a Pennsylvania license plate, which was eventually connected to Kohberger. We've also learned that investigators were able to cross-reference the movement of the Elantra to Brian Kohberger's cell phone. Now, what's also interesting here, guys, according to the affidavit, is that Kohberger applied for an internship with the Pullman Police Department in the fall of last year, and that he wrote an essay that he had interest in assisting police with how to better collect and analyze technological data. They also confirm, and this was suspicion before, that he posted a Reddit survey asking participants on understanding emotions when committing a crime. Now, through cell phone records, we've learned that Kohberger allegedly visited the victim's home or the area at the victim's home at least 12 times prior to November 13th. We also understand that investigators went back to the Pennsylvania home and dug through the trash to get the father's DNA sample again to make a match. So again, investigators had a single source DNA that came from the knife sheath. Then, with help from the WSU police, they were able to identify a suspect car, track that, and then substantiate the car's movements with help from the FBI through his cell phone. So a lot of information just being uncovered right now. So what's going to be happening next? Well, Kohberger expected to be in court within the next few minutes here. PC documents are also going to reveal possibly a motive. We are staying on top of this story, and we'll bring you the very latest throughout the morning. If not, stay with us here on Fox 13, as well as fox13seattle.com. Guys, back over to you.
And as those documents help us fill in the gaps of what happened that night, we're also learning more about the FBI investigation into Kohberger himself.
Yeah, they actually tracked him all the way to Idaho from Pennsylvania, asking police to pull him over twice. So Dan Griffin joins us live from the newsroom here. Dan, we're actually getting a look at the body cam footage from those traffic stops from Idaho to Pennsylvania. Good morning.
Hey, good morning to you. You know, and those made a big difference here. New details reveal the FBI surveillance team was seeking video images of Brian Kohberger in his hands, looking for any injuries. That's according to a law enforcement officer who spoke to Fox News. Now, Kohberger and his father were making their way across the country, from what we understand, from Washington State, headed to Pennsylvania. Kohberger, obviously, is a teaching assistant and PhD student at Wazoo's Department of Criminal Justice. His father flew out to Washington State to ride with him to their home in Pennsylvania for the holidays, and as the two continued toward their destination, police in Indiana stopped them twice on December 15th. Now, the source who spoke to Fox News said investigators were still building a case to make an arrest. They said genealogy played a big role. We'll stay with that here for just a second, because I'm going to bring that back up here in just a moment based on those documents Brian was just talking about. Kohberger has since been charged, obviously, in the murders of the 4 University of Idaho students in Moscow on November 13th, but at that time, as the case was being built, these traffic stops proved important in tracking their suspect. During the stop with the Hancock County, Indiana Police Department, the father and son discussed an incident with the officer, describing a SWAT team killing an armed man in a standoff near Wazoo. Take a listen.
Take a look at your driver's license real quick, if I could. See, he's right up on that van, man. right up on the back end of that van, pulled you over for tailgating.
SWAT team and everything.
So I'm having a hard time hearing you because of the traffic. So you're coming from Washington State University, and you're going where? Oh.
We're going to be going to Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay.
All right, so the 2 traffic stops gave investigators a closer look at Kohberger. They also gave a better idea of where he was at the time as the case was coming together. Now, at the time of the stops in Indiana, he and his father were more than 30 hours away, or more than 2,000-mile drive from Pullman. And this morning, he's back in Idaho right now in court, going to be facing a judge there. But these documents here that we've been reviewing, Brian and I, this morning, really paint an interesting picture here, talking about DNA. They mentioned genealogy being a major thing here. Well, according to this, as we were saying, in December, they were able to go through some trash. They were able to get evidence there to get this DNA checked and sent off to a lab in Idaho. And it says at least 99.998% of the male population would be expected to be excluded, except for the possibility of being the suspect's biological father. So they've been able to really work hard to piece these pieces together. Obviously, we're going to keep going through these documents, keep working on this, and we're going to bring you the latest throughout the day. But for now, we're live here in the newsroom. Dan Griffin, Fox 13 News.